Hello there, Internet and YouTube. This is the Two Bro Gamers podcast. This is myself, Ricky, and unfortunately, I will not be joined by Steve this week. He has some personal matters to attend to, so I decided to take this show to myself on my own and see where that goes and give you guys some news, of course, with my opinion on it. As well, hey, we like to spin it, making some fun with it, and of course, the second part of the show this time, since I'm solo. I was thinking maybe there wouldn't be a second part of the show, but you know what? I thought I'd give a game review out of one of the games that I'm actually playing lately, which is Mario Kart 8. I thought I would give some thoughts on that because, I love the Mario Kart series, so I thought I could definitely give some insight. And because, I've been playing Mario Kart since the SNES version, so definitely from then to now, comparing it, and also what I thought of it as a whole in general. Now, the first things I want to start off with was the things that we missed from last week. We're flowing. We kept going through other things, so we missed some stories. One story that I think was really big. There are so many different versions of Steam coming out because, there's the Steam box. If you guys don't know, Steam is launching their own consoles. People have dubbed it the Steam box. It should be coming out. It should have been actually coming out later on this year. I think they may have delayed that. But besides that point, somebody is actually going to make and hopefully release this, because I'm a big fan of this. The Steam Boy. It's a portable Steam machine, basically. And I think that's really cool. I don't know if a lot of people are into handhelds as much as they used to be with the Game Boy back then, but really this Steam Boy concept seems to be really good and really smart. Only because, I don't know. I take public transportation most of the time. I take buses, I take trains. Sometimes I get a ride. I'm learning how to drive. I'm a New York guy, so I've been basically taking buses for a long time. So, I used to be able to, bring these handhelds with me. The Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket, like from back in the day, or even like a DS, a 3DS. Now, I carry my 3DS with me right now, getting Street Pass and such. The Steam Boy seems to be an interesting concept where you can basically play all your PC games on this handheld device, which I think is really cool. The only thing we really have close to that is the Nvidia Shield. It's a handheld, but it only is. It's almost like a Wii U gamepad in a way, where you can play the games from your PC. From the Wii U, you can play your games from the Wii U, but only within the house. Same thing with the Nvidia Shield, depending on the graphics card that you have. The Nvidia Shield can play only Wi-Fi. Like, it can play some games away, like some Android games and such. There even is an Android version of Portal available exclusively for the Nvidia Shield, and you can take that around and whatnot. But it can connect to your PC, act as a controller, and also play Wi-Fi games, as if you're playing at home, playing from your PC, but instead you're playing it through an actual handheld device. And this is what this is, but basically you can take it anywhere. Now, it's still it's an independent group. It's not really an official Steam project, but it seems kind of promising. Everything would obviously be low res, like most games, only because you can't have PC powered like high res graphics, and yeah, that may defeat the purpose of a PC game. PC games are normally like higher res and higher this and higher everything, and I think this could be a benefit. I know, honestly, I love portable things. I have an app on my phone where I can watch the TV from my house. A Sling box. I have a Sling player that, watches that. I can watch anything I want from anywhere. I don't have to pay anything extra except for the app, but I don't have to pay anything for the service because, I already pay for my cable. But besides that point, I'm a portable guy. I like bringing stuff with me everywhere. I don't need to have everything on a big screen. Big screen is cool, but I don't think that I don't think this is a bad idea at all. So who knows what people would think of that. It may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing. I hope it does work out, though, because to bring not only, I'm bringing Nintendo games with me, even with the PSP when, that was hacked, and yes, I have mine hacked. Not only was I able to play PSP games, I was also able to play, emulated games as well, with games I've owned, of course. But I love that. I love that portability of bringing whatever you can and whatever you want, and I love that. Now, that was really the main story that I wanted to discuss this week. This past weekend, though, was a big day in eSports. What am I talking about? I was talking about MLG Anaheim. MLG Anaheim happened this weekend, and it's really great because I mean, I'm not a big a fan of some of the other games. Like, I'm more so a fighting game fan, like Street Fighter and such like that, versus the other games that are featured. I did check them out, I'm not gonna lie, but I really couldn't like get into most of them. Like, there was Call of Duty Ghost. They also had StarCraft, which was pretty cool. Which I didn't know that game was still big, and oh yeah, that game's big. And of course, the game that I really watched the most, Smash Bros. Melee. That was one of the things I really watched this weekend. Injustice, which I didn't think was actually, it's getting bigger than I thought it would. I mean, people are playing this game and people are competing for it. And Killer Instinct, which I'm happy that Killer Instinct is finally making big. Where I've been a huge Killer Instinct fan since it came out in the arcade and on SNES many, many years ago. So for it to just be a new version of this game played competitively is just amazing to me. Now, the big thing with the winners, as far as MOG this weekend, from the Call of Duty Ghosts, Evil Geniuses won first place, followed by Optic Gaming and TCM Gaming. As far as StarCraft goes, and this is the StarCraft version, StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm. Trap came in first. Pult came in second, and Violet came in third. Smash Bros. Melee, which was an intense competition this weekend. Mango, unsurprisingly to me, apparently people were sleeping on a kid for some reason. He came in first. Armada came in second, and Mewtwo came in third. As far as Injustice goes, Theo came in first. 16-Bit came in second. White Boy came in third. And Killer Instinct, which it's amazing to me who was the first place and actually one of the best players in Killer Instinct right now. Justin Wong came in first. Yes, that Justin Wong of Street Fighter fame and Marvel fame. My God came in second. Rico Suave third. Tyrant in fourth. And that's not the only one that's the big weekend. Because as far as fighting games go, MOG is just the start. Even though Smash was brought back to MOG for the first time in about 8 years. There's still 2 more big tournaments. I mean, it also includes Street Fighter and it also will include Killer Instinct. CEO is coming up this coming weekend, and that's going to be fantastic. And I love the concept of CEO, where which stands for Community Effort Orlando, which obviously happens in Orlando, Florida, is a 3-day tournament that involves like most of all the fighting games. And some of the top 8 or the final bouts of the tournament happen in either a actual ring, like a boxing ring, or a ring, an actual like boxing ring or wrestling ring, and the some other games, our finals happen in a cage, which is pretty cool too. So. And that's one of the major ones that also leads up to the final big one that's going to be happening next month in July, Evolution 2014. That's it. Like, that's the biggest one, and that I cannot wait for. I cannot wait for that at all. Now, as far as Evo, they have their big games. They do have Smash Bros. Melee, of course, Street Fighter 4. And Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I believe they have Persona 3 or 4. It was one of those 2 that I'm going off the head right now. But I'm also bringing up Evo because of the indie showcase that they're going to have this year. Some of these games I have not heard of. Some of them you may have. Indie showcase will consist of Advent Saga, Lethal League, Video Ball, Aztez, Yatagarasu, Attack on Cataclysm, Towerfall, Star Wall, Just the Tip, Battle Golf Association, that sounds kind of funny, and Nidhogg and Gunsport. All those would be played during the tournament. So, I mean, at some point, I think I'm going to have to check out other things, because it's not going to be about Smash for me this tournament, because Evo is too big to ignore the other games, including Street Fighter and including Marvel and including Killer Instinct, which I believe is also there as well. So this should be an interesting one this year, but CEO's got to come first. Now, in other news, Microsoft revealed the Xbox One's launch lineup. The Xbox One, which is going to be coming out in Japan this coming September, they had just announced, Microsoft just did anyway, that their launch titles. Some of those titles, I mean, they're going to have a killer lineup, honestly. I mean, they had, this looks like, in all honesty to me, a better lineup where they came up with the Xbox One there than they did here. To lay it all out for you, we got Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes, Titanfall, Need for Speed Rivals, Battlefield 4, FIFA 14, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, Strider, Moso Orochi 2 Ultimate, Anagiri, Call of Duty Ghost, the dub version of it, Thief, Tomb Raider, Wolfenstein, The New Order, Killer Instinct, Murdered, Zumba Fitness World Party, Crimson Dragon, Rising Dead 3, Connect Sports Rivals, Zoo Tycoon, Power Star Golf, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Child of Light, Trials Fusion, Halo, Spartan Assault, Max, The Curse of the Brotherhood, Rise, Son of Rome, Loco Psycho, and Forza Motorsport 5. Now, with that list, like I said, it is much, much better than like the US release or even any release. So they're doing it big for Japan. So I think they're really trying to make the Xbox One more successful than the 360. Well, I mean, but that all comes into time and see how people react to it, because you never know. Japan did not eat up the 360 as, I mean, I don't know if anybody expected Japan to, but it didn't really do so well at all. So, I mean, maybe the Xbox One would be the one that turns people around to finally looking at an American company and say, you know, maybe I'm going to buy an Xbox One. Who knows? Speaking of consoles themselves, Google's going to release an Android-powered game console. You know, they said, forget the Ojwa or whatever that thing is called, the Ouija, I never know how to pronounce it, but I know it's just a failing system. That was one of the original home consoles that was kickstarted. It was supposed to be this huge big thing. It got released, and then it kind of flopped from there. But forget that. Now Google's got their own Android home system going to be coming out. Razer's going to be making it for them. It's going to be another micro console like the Ojwa was, where the Ojwa was like basically the size of a Rubik's Cube. This one's going to be, I don't know how big. I don't know if it's going to be some sort of flat thing. But it also will not only be a micro console, it'll also run the Android TV. So it's kind of like almost like, I guess, Sony's PlayStation TV or even Apple TV. Whatever TV that they're going to do, this DVR thing that's going on now. But that's their thing that they're doing now. So who knows how that'll do. Maybe it'll do better than the Ojwa. Maybe because Google has power, they can be able to do this. Who knows? Hopefully they can pull that off. Moving on to PlayStation. PlayStation Now is in beta. People who have the chance and opportunity to try it out are trying it out. And they have a lot to complain about. There's a beta out for you to stream. Well, if you know what, I'll back up and explain a little bit to you if you guys don't know. The PlayStation Now is basically a streaming service. It's almost like OnLive, but for PlayStation games that have been released, not only PS4 games, but PS3 games and you know, before that. So now these games are going to be in the PlayStation Now, which not only will stream on a PlayStation console, I think it may be streaming on a PS3. I'm not sure. But I know for sure it's going to be streaming on the PS4, certain Sony TVs in the future as well. So now, what people have found is the prices of each of these games that are supposed to be releasing or streaming are pretty damn ridiculous. Let's look at Final Fantasy 13 2. Came out in 2012. If you wanted to rent that game from PlayStation's Now service, it would be for 4 hours, $4.99. If you wanted to rent it for 7 days, $7.99. If you want to rent it for 30 days, is $14.99. And for 90 days, $30. Mind you, if you wanted to buy the game itself, like the physical copy for the PS3, it's about maybe $20. So I don't really know what to think about that. I don't. It's a very odd thing. I mean, Sony says that these prices are also beta, so they won't reflect the final product, but I don't know. I mean, if you're going to stream a game, make it a little bit more convenient, I guess, to say. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's only one example. I could even show you Guacamelee, which is a game that's like recent, $15. I mean, it's even coming out for the Wii U and the Xbox One. It's been out on PC. It's $15 if you want to own it, or technically own it, I guess you could say, with downloadable content, but that's another story. But if you want to rent this game for 90 days, which is the max on the PlayStation Now, it is $14.99. So you rent it, you might as well just got it and just have it on your hard drive for a while. So, I mean, hopefully this service will improve. Hopefully maybe the prices will improve. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know if Sony knows what it's doing with that yet. I think it really wants to try it out and get into that the game streaming service, and try to take that market away from maybe OnLive and all their PC games and whatnot, or even GameFly with their PC streaming as well. But with the prices that they're asking for, I don't know, man. I mean, even GameFly, you can just stream any PC game you want. It doesn't even matter. It's part of your service. And online, it's a monthly service as well for any game. So for for Sony to have to charge that much for a game to rent, it basically costs more than actually buying the physical game or the game to download. That just seems a little bit ridiculous, and hopefully they'll improve that service later. Speaking of indie games that are on games, because I did talk about Guacamelee, that segue that I have there. Stephen Totilo of Kotaku. Yeah, I'm going to be naming names now. Yeah, one of my sources that I look at, one of my sites. Yeah, no, Kotaku's gets crap from time to time, but hey, I get news sources from everywhere, so don't worry. He talked to Shigeru Miyamoto and another worker from Nintendo, Takahashi, about Minecraft and it eventually making it onto the Nintendo consoles. Now, a lot of people have always said, okay, why isn't Minecraft on Nintendo consoles? I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's basically almost a Nintendo game anyway. It's on every other console. It's on PC. It's on everybody's tablets and everybody's phones. Why can't it just be for Nintendo? Now, speaking of it, Shigeru Miyamoto knows of it. He hasn't really played the game, and he passed it on to Takahashi that said he is more familiar with the game. Now, he had said that we've always thought internally that using the Wii U gamepad would probably make for Minecraft that's very easy to play. And of course, if we were to do something with Minecraft on the 3DS, similarly, we would probably do it where it would be easy to play and could probably reach a lot of kids. What's interesting is that in Japan, Minecraft is not very popular in the way it is in the US and Europe. So we've thought that if we were to do a partnership like that, it might bring opportunities to help make Minecraft more popular in Japan. So they see it in about that way, and they say our hardware is only hardware that you can do both touch and stick control. So that should be a benefit for Nintendo and Minecraft. And of course, Stephen Totilo responded back to them, you've got to call them and make it happen. And he said, maybe we're meeting with them. Miyamoto said, who knows? So maybe one day we'll probably see Minecraft on Nintendo consoles. Who knows? Speaking of Nintendo, they lost their lawsuit to Philips, which I didn't know there was a lawsuit that Nintendo had against them. Philips, which is a company who's made electronics, DVD players, maybe even VHS players, if you guys even remember that from back in the days. And also notoriously working with Nintendo many years ago and making how do we put this? It's like a ginormous failure in consoles. Not a ginormous one, because there was a lot of failures in consoles, but this one was big because they worked with Nintendo and they made awful games together. You could look it up. It's called the CDI. And when people wrote this article, when I read it on different websites like IGN and Nintendo News and such the websites like that, every single one of them brought up the CDI as if like they're bitter. Like, you know what? We got screwed out on the CDI somehow, and we're gonna sue Nintendo for something that we made up. The lawsuit was basically over patent laws with the Wii remote, basically. Apparently, according to the lawsuit that Nintendo lost, Philips motion control patents were infringed upon by Nintendo. So now the judge that ruled that the Wii remote and the Wii Motion Plus controllers, nunchuck, balance board, Wii U console, and gamepad violate patents set by Philips in the UK. Now this is in the UK. The judge, however, said that Nintendo was not infringing on a third of the Dutch company's patents, which involved modeling a body on a virtual environment. He said that the common general knowledge did not include the device combining a physical motion sensor with a camera, and the reasons advanced by Nintendo for putting those two sensors together in one unit are unconvincing. Nintendo said it plans to seek an appeal by the court's decision, as Nintendo thinks that the two patents are invalid. Now, this isn't the only lawsuit. Philips is also trying to follow similar lawsuits, of infringement on Nintendo in the U.S., Germany, and France. So who knows how those cases will go and how it will affect the Wii itself, and if it will stop the sales of Wii or Wii remotes and whatnot, depending on how the lawsuits go. I mean, right now it's not affecting anything over in Europe for now, unless Nintendo's just got to pay a lot of money to Philips at this point, maybe to make up for those CDI sales. Haha, I did go there. But I, you can never tell. You can't tell. But even if it does, I mean, it looks like Nintendo's just going to have to spend more money on stuff that it really shouldn't have to spend more money on. I mean, Nintendo's not making as much money as they used to, but, and now that they're starting to turn around with the Wii U and getting hit with that lawsuit and losing, that might hurt them a little bit. I mean, there's no talks of any money yet, but with a lawsuit like this, you're most likely going to have to owe somebody something. So we'll see where that goes. On to Nintendo games itself. The newer games in the Zelda series, which is not directly related to it, but it's called Hyrule Warriors, which is a hybrid of the Dynasty Warriors series mixed in with the Zelda series. Now, the key thing that they announced, because there's playable characters, like Link's a playable character, Zelda's a playable character, Midna from Twilight Princess is actually in the game as well, along with others, including the Bug Girl, and I forget her name, but she was announced as a playable character in the game, which is slightly interesting. Also, Zant, one of the bosses in Twilight Princess, who's an awesome boss, who was creepy as hell. Even I think he was a much better boss than Ganondorf, in my opinion. He's even in the game. But one of the key things that caught my eye this week about that, about Hyrule Warriors, about Hyrule Warriors, is the fact that Zelda is not a princess in this game. She is Queen Zelda. How about that? Huh. She's finally upgraded to that thing. Now, it also read that in the newer Zelda game for the 3DS, Link Between Worlds, that the Japanese version actually hinted at Zelda being a queen, which was taken out in the US version, or, English translated versions. I don't know why, but if that's the case, maybe one of the newer Zelda games, the newer one that's going to be coming out for the Wii U, will have a Queen Zelda. Speaking of that, Hyrule Warriors may lead to a multiplayer Zelda game, which means the newer Zelda Wii U version of the game series, may have more than one player in this game. Like EJ Anuoma, I can't say his name, I'm sorry. The creative Zelda, he's the developer. He's the one who's basically in charge of it. He was speaking to Game Informer, and he talked about the co-op of Dynasty Warriors. He said the two-player functionality of Hyrule Warriors is actually something that has traditionally been done in the Dynasty Warriors series, but they changed because of the hardware and the second screen of your gamepad. Instead of having a split screen on the television, you have one player on the television and the other one on the gamepad. When I was talking back about making Zelda more than just a single-player experience, that's something you have to see in the future, maybe next year. Well, guess what's going to be supposedly coming out next year? Hello. So if we have a multiplayer Zelda, that may be interesting. I don't know. I always like Zelda as a one-player game, but I mean, they do have to change it and refresh the Zelda series itself. I mean, it's not like it's getting stale or old. The last Zelda that came out on the 3DS, The Link Between Worlds, was actually a really good game, but it really was short. It was more, I don't know, it was, I mean, I loved it because I guess it was the nostalgia that got me because, I did play the original Super Nintendo Link to the Past, and that's basically what it was a sequel to. Now, they did switch things up in that Zelda game where it wasn't like there wasn't an order where every Zelda game you had to go to one dungeon and you had to go to a certain place to go to the other dungeon. You had this straight line to follow with mazes to follow in between. Now, in this Zelda game, it was different because the temples were out of order. So you can do them in whatever order you want, and this Zelda Wii U is going to continue that tradition. Now, not only would they do that, if they also bring in two-player co-op, that can make the game even interesting too, and even maybe broaden out the Zelda series even more, maybe make it fresh and something new that maybe not only that could bring old fans back that may be getting tired of the series, maybe new fans to fall in love with the Zelda series again. So who knows where that will go. Whether I think it's a great idea or not, I have to see. I have to see when the gameplay happens, but that's still to come. Sticking on Nintendo games, some release that caught my eye this week. People are loving the Shovel Knight. People are hype about that game. I guess it's cool. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there. Maybe somebody could leave it in the comments and whatnot of what the big deal is, or maybe I should read into it at some point. But everybody seems to be loving Shovel Knight right now that's coming out on the Wii U. But the thing that really caught my eye is Wii Sports Club. Finally, after all this time on the Wii U, baseball and boxing has been released. Which was awesome on the Wii. Baseball was one of the cooler games, and boxing was one of the cooler games. And of course, bowling. The other two were like, eh. But There's going to be an online feature for both of those games and also new control options. Pitching on the baseball game is done on a gamepad, and 2 Wii remotes can be used in boxing instead of the Wii remote and the nunchucks. They are going to have a free 48-hour trial starting this weekend, so you might want to, if you do have a Wii U, you might want to check that out and see what the big fuss is all about. Now, Nintendo's not confirming this story, but the amiibos that were introduced at E3 has a price leak. According to a UK retailer, they're at £12.85. I don't know how they say that. I don't know the thing, but I know it's about 12, 13 pounds in there. What it translates to American dollars or US dollars, I don't know. But if that's a price for it, for individual toys that Nintendo isn't confirming yet, it could be maybe a good deal. If maybe the games in the US were going to, not the games, but if the figures are going to be released at about $10 a figure, that's not bad, honestly. I didn't think that it was going to be that much, but in all honesty, if it's going to be that low, maybe that's not bad. Now, if it's maybe $20 a toy or probably a figure, but I don't know. I don't know if I can spend that money, because I'm not a big fan of the Skylanders, because it's basically what it is. It's basically a Skylanders type of thing that Nintendo's doing and Disney Infinity. I'm not that type of person to have to do that. I mean, obviously, I'm a broke gamer. One broke gamer here. Hello. So I don't think I could be able to jump on that bandwagon at any point, because it's just too much investment to have to buy action figures for a video game. I mean, I do realize and I do know that Skylanders comes with a set, and the set that it comes with all the toys, you can beat the game with. But if you wanted to be a completist, you would have to buy other figures in order for you to beat the game at 100%. Now, one last thing about Nintendo. We talked about a couple of weeks ago before E3 that Nintendo's president was not going to be attending E3 because of health issues. Nintendo actually came out and had a statement. Actually, Satoru Iwata actually came out on itself. What apparently did happen, he was going to a routine examination, and his doctor just found something. It was a growth in his bile duct. They actually caught it. It would have been difficult to treat if it was caught much later, but it was caught very, very early to where it was actually able to be removed, and he could be able to be okay. Now, he just needs some time to recover, because he also not only was able to attend E3 in California, he was not able to attend another shareholders meeting. So he wants to recover and get back to work, and that's insane that they did find it that early. And it's good that they did find it that early, so, now we can continue working and getting some good games out there. Even though some people do want his job, they want him gone, to say. But I don't know. He ran the company for this long, made the Wii, made the DS, at the old CEO's suggestion, of course. The Wii U isn't successful, but it's turning around. I think, with him recovering and Nintendo getting back on pace right now, it's going to be a good sign. One odd game that I want to talk about before one last stream, 2 more stories coming up. It makes me laugh because I can't believe this. There is a Forrest Gump game, and that's not a lie. This is actually an official game that can be downloaded at some point. Right now, it's being tested out in in New Zealand, but it's a game based on the 1994 movie Forrest Gump. And the game is called Run Forrest Run. Now, the Infinite Runners, almost like a temple run type of game. So that's how you're starting off the game. You start off as young Tom Hanks running, and you're eventually growing up into running in the street and dodging cars and jumping and stuff, because that's what Forrest Gump does. I can't wait to actually see this game, because I do want to try it just for the sheer stupidity and fun of it. And see where to go from there. Now, one last thing I do want to talk about. It started this Sunday, and it may be ending at some point this weekend. It is Summer Games Done Quick. It's a charity event from June 22nd to the 28th. And it's basically a bunch of speedrunners who want to come in at a 24/7 marathon in this place, and they will stream whatever game they want to speedrun individually. Not every single person is going to be doing the same game. Different people are going to be doing different games. Like some people played Mega Man, people played Super Mario 3D World, Final Fantasy, Sonic the Hedgehog, other games like that. And you guys should check that out on stream, on Twitch, actually. Just look up Summer Games Done Quick. It's really interesting, especially I was watching a speedrun of Guacamelee, which a game I'd never played, was interested in. And the glitches that the guy was pulling off, where saving and leaving and doing this, was basically warping him from one side of the map to the other. It was quite interesting. And I mean, these are the speedrunners. These are guys that, like, I guess professionally, I guess you could say, but they're really, I don't think they're professionals. I mean, but they're really good at their speedruns, and they actually want to show off their skills for charity. So, and it's always good for charity. Why not? Which charity, you mean to ask? They're raising money for the Doctors Without Borders, an organization dedicated to bringing medical relief to countries affected by armed conflict, disease, disaster, or general lack of health care. So, I mean, it's a good cause. Check it out and also donate some money. And that's about it for the news stories. Join me in the next break, myself, Ricky, because Steve, as you didn't hear from the beginning of the podcast, I mean, you could rewind it anyway, but Steve is had some other things to attend to, some personal things to attend to, and he's not able to do the show with me this week, but he will be back next week. Other than that, my next part of the show is going to be about Mario Kart 8, my review of it and what I thought of it, and we'll go from there. So I will see you guys in the next click.